Hi everyone, welcome to another video. As part of my house renovation series, if you've been watching, you'll know that I've been doing every single room in this house, and as part of the living room makeover, I wanted to make a feature of this fireplace. So before I started, this was just a bare plastered wall. This actually used to have an old back boiler in it, so a few years ago when the back boiler was removed, this was just boxed out. It's slightly off centre, which is a little bit annoying. Well, there used to just be a plain fire surround up here, which didn't look great, so I've done something like this before and wanted to do it again because it was really easy project to do. It doesn't take very long at all and it's super cheap. So let's get into it and I'll show you how I did it. This was everything that I used for the project. So I had an old piece of wood, which I think was a railway sleeper, which I cut down to size, an electric screwdriver, screws, sanding equipment, spirit level, some varnish and a drill with a wood bit and a masonry bit. There was also some wood filler that I used, which I haven't shown here. I started off by using the wood bit to drill into the wood part way through, countersinking some holes for the screws to go through. So I made sure that I was using a bit that was large enough for my electric screwdriver head to fit inside, just so that I could make sure that I could screw right the way through. Next, I needed to mark on the wall where I needed to drill for the wall plugs. I put the wood in position using the spirit level to make sure that it was straight, and then screwed through the screws so that they would make a mark on the other side of the wall, so I knew where I needed to drill. I then drilled into the wall and inserted the wall plugs. Next, I got on with prepping the wood ready for staining. So I was using the sander attachment on my multi-tool, which I was actually really struggling with, but I didn't have any sanding sheets for my electric sander. So this was the best that I could do with it, really, unfortunately. It did have like a lot of dirt on it, and I don't know whether it was some old varnish, but I just had to do the best that I possibly could with this. It was taking a long time. It was then time to move on to the varnish. Luckily, I decided to go for a walnut finish, so any dark patches weren't really going to show up once that was varnished over. So this did take a couple of coats. I let it dry in between the coats and just kept topping it up, and then left it to dry before moving on to the next stage. Once dry, it was then time to get it fixed into the wall, so I popped the screws in place and then lined them up with the wall plugs. Obviously it's a lot easier if you have someone else helping you, but it is manageable just as one person. It's best to make sure that you're using the biggest screws that you can get hold of, because if you're using a piece of wood like this, it is quite thick. Even with countersinking the holes, you need to make sure that it's being screwed far enough into the wall so that it's nice and secure and it's not going to fall off. I was able to get the screws tightened all the way with the electric screwdriver because the hole was big enough for it to fit, but you might just need to use a manual screwdriver just to tighten it up at the end. Once I had the wood securely fit against the wall, I then used some Ronseal wood filler to fill in the holes where the screws were. So I went in just filling this as much as I possibly could, and I was being a little bit impatient with this, so rather than waiting for it to dry, I did actually start varnishing over whilst it was still wet. So that meant that the filler was pushed into the hole a little bit, so if I'd have just been a little bit more patient, I would have got a better finish on this. If I was keeping this plain, I would have gone over and filled those holes again, but I was actually planning on putting a garland on there, as you'll see in a minute, so I wasn't too concerned about being able to see where I had actually screwed it in. This is the garland that I used to decorate it with. There's actually two here. I'd picked these up from TK Maxx a year ago, I think, and they were actually part of my Christmas decorations, but I felt that they gave a really nice rustic vibe and fit in with the decor that I had in the living room, so I just decided to keep them on the fireplace. So I think this looks really nice, and as I said, it was super cheap. It was pretty much everything that I already had, other than needing to go and buy some varnish. But yeah, I absolutely love this. There's plenty of space on there to put a few tea lights, and it just gives a really nice, simple finish to the living room. Enjoyed the video, don't forget to leave a like, comment down below, let me know what you think, and I will see you again soon.